Hi everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm finally bringing you a new video and I want to apologize by saying sorry I have not uploaded in I think like 2 weeks now. There have been some things going on in my life that have just like made me a bit exhausted and I just wasn't interested in makeup at all. Like I wore makeup but I wasn't enjoying it. I was tired a lot. I of course just moved and it was just like a bit too much. So now that I'm sort of like back to being like more relaxed and less stressed, I thought why not film again because I really miss filming. I've seen a lot of people sort of like quit YouTube because it's like kind of hard to grow and everything, but I've been doing YouTube for so long that I just like cannot stop doing it. I just love making videos. But of course, with my full-time job and everything, it is not as much as it used to be, but I still try to upload like whenever I can. I also just adopted 2 bunnies a couple weeks ago, so I have been really enjoying spending time with them and getting to know them, giving them attention. So that has also like been a little bit time consuming, but now that I'm feeling like less tired, I'm ready to like make another video and start uploading again. And I thought what better way to start uploading than with doing sort of like a collection video, because with being like less interested in makeup, I have sort of like downsized my makeup collection, and there's also a couple of products that I have just been using like all the time. So I thought it would be like fun to go over everything that I have in my collection. I'm going to do a multiple part series again. I did this last year too, but like I said, my makeup collection has sort of like changed a little bit. We're starting with a category that I still have quite a few products in, and that is my blushes, because I love my blushes. I also have some in here, not all, but this is like the makeup bag for when I do my makeup in a train to work. So I'm actually going to start with the few that are in this makeup bag, because as you can see, I have 2 of these Trini London stacks. Not all of these like little containers are blushes, but there are some in here, so I thought we would start with those because these are the ones that I have been using so much. So I have 3 of these blushes, and if you're wondering, the rest are like eyeshadows, highlighters, a sort of like primer, and a concealer. I'm not going to show those today, but they will be featured in my other collection parts. So I'm going to start with these 3 blushes. So this one is the first one that I absolutely love. This is also the one that I used in my full face of Trini London makeup, and this is the Flush blush in the shade Electra, and it's just a super pretty sort of like mauvey pink shade, and it's quite light, so it's super pretty, and I feel like this is like the perfect pink blush for me. So this is just one that I absolutely love wearing, and I use this one so much. But then the recent addition to my collection, I just tried this for the first time last week, is this one. So this is also the Flush blush, but it is actually in the shade Reem, and as you can see, it's quite a bit deeper than the previous one that I showed. If I compare them side to side, you can really like tell the difference. So this is what they look like side to side. This is the shade Reem and this is the shade Electra, and as you can see, Reem is just like a tiny bit deeper. So this is what they look like compared next to each other. Again, this is Electra and this is Reem. So I absolutely love both of these. I've only used this one time, so I'm definitely going to play with this a bit more and see which one I like the best. And then the last ones of these Trini London blushes that I have here is a little Geo, and this one is in the shade Freddy and Bunny. And this is actually a lip to cheek blush that you can use on the lips and the face. And this is also the sheer shimmer, so it's like kind of like a sheer base that you put on top of the other blush to make it like more glowy and everything. So then to move on to this little container that I have here, it basically has all of my other blushes in here, and I have a variety of cream and powder blushes. I think we'll just start with the powder blushes. The first one I have in here I've had for quite a while, and this is the Tartelette Amazonian Clay blush in the shade Bloom. And I really like this packaging. It's kind of like this limited edition packaging. It matches the like Tartelette in Bloom palette, the like big one that came out last year. And this is what the shade looks like. It's a super pretty like light pink shade. I don't use this one as much, but I definitely should use it more because it is stunning, and I have used it a good amount, but I just like don't reach for it on like a weekly basis. So this is kind of like a reminder that I need to use this one more because it is super pretty. Then I have 4 of these Charlotte Tilbury blushes. These are the Cheek to Chic blushes, so they're like the powder ones. And the first one I have right here is I think my favorite, and this is the shade Pillow Talk. Of course, such a classic. I know sometimes people complain that Charlotte Tilbury releases everything in the shade Pillow Talk, but it's just like one of my favorite shades from them. I've been wearing the Pillow Talk lipstick all week and I just think it's super pretty. So again, this is a super pretty blush. I find these ones don't really swatch that good, so I'm not going to swatch them because they won't do them justice, but when you try them on the face, they are so stunning. So then I also have Pillow Talk Intense, and basically they all come in the same packaging, but Pillow Talk Intense is like a deeper version of the Pillow Talk blush. But this is what both of the blushes look like. This is the Pillow Talk blush and this is the Pillow Talk Intense blush, so you can definitely see they're sort of like a similar vibe, but they do have a different type of depth to them. They are super pretty though. I like both of them. I don't wear this one as much, of course, because it is a little bit deeper, but when I wear this, I feel like it also looks really pretty. I just have to be a bit more careful that it's not going to be too much or patchy, because this is like very deep on me because I do have a really light skin tone. So I usually reach for the Pillow Talk one more, but I think both of these are absolutely stunning. Then the next one I have in here is actually more of a peachy shade, and as you can see, I've used this one like quite a lot as well. This is the shade Ecstasy, and this is also like I think one of their most popular shades. I know a lot of people love this as well. This is just a more like peachy version of this blush. Super pretty. It just makes you look like super fresh, especially when you're like wearing a full coverage foundation. I feel like adding a bit of this in makes your makeup look so much more fresh and so beautiful. So this is the Ecstasy blush. And then the last one I have right here is also just a little bit more deep, and this is the Climax blush. And again, this is one that when you see it, you wouldn't really think that it works for a light skin tone, but it actually does. Just like the Pillow Talk one, you just need to use a very light hand. And those were my 4 Charlotte Tilbury powder blushes. I know this is not a face palette video because I want to make a separate face palette video, but I need to show you this one because how stunning is this Charlotte Tilbury blush palette. This is the Pillow Talk one that launched for the holiday season of this year. I absolutely love this, and I just needed to show this because this is so pretty, but you'll see this a bit more in depth in my collection video. But the next blush I have here is this one from Pat McGrath. This is actually the only single blush I have from Pat McGrath. I do have a blush palette, again you'll see that in a different video, but this is the first blush that I got from Pat McGrath, and for the longest time I wasn't super impressed with this. I didn't really use it as much as I thought I would, but now I absolutely love it. I think this is such a stunning blush. Again, this is in the shade Fleurtatious. It's a beautiful light pink. At first, I was like scared it wasn't showing up well on my skin tone, but it actually does, and it is just beautiful. So this is the Pat McGrath blush in the shade Fleurtatious. I don't really feel like drawn to buying more of their blushes though. I do like the ones that I have, but I don't like them like that much more than some other affordable blushes. Then the last like full powder blush is this one from Hourglass, and this is one that I got in an advent calendar, and it's definitely not one that I would have bought if I didn't get it in the advent calendar because of the shade. So this is what it looks like. It is in the shade Iridescent Flash, and it is a bit more of that mauve blush as well. It kind of like looks very purple when you like swatch it, but I feel like on the face it does look pretty. It's just like a bit more of a different shade than what I would normally reach for. This is the Petric Ta blush Geo in the shade She's So LA. This is such a classic one. I know when like these blushes first came out, everyone was like so into this shade. I feel like it was like the most popular one, and the bottom one, it's just like a beautiful powder formula. That is what that looks like. Super pretty. And then the top is actually a cream. It's also very pretty, and as you can see, they're quite brown toned. So at first I was like kind of scared that they were going to be like kind of similar to a bronzer, but they're actually not. You can definitely tell you're wearing a blush and not a bronzer. So this is one that I do really like. Then this one is from the brand Rose Inc. These are so popular, like these blushes as well, and this is what they look like. I think you guys have definitely seen them. This is one in the shade Wisteria, which is more of like a newer shade. I think these launch in the fall, and I think this is a really beautiful color, but for some reason the formula just didn't wow me as much as I thought it would. This is what it looks like. It is a beautiful blush and a beautiful shade, and it looks beautiful on the skin, but you just have to build it up quite much, even though the formula itself feels kind of stiff. So that just like doesn't make that much sense to me, but I do try to use this as much as I can, and I think it's pretty. It is just one that maybe I was expecting a bit more from. Then I actually have 5 of these Rare Beauty blushes. As you can see, I have 3 full-size ones and then 2 minis. I actually do really like these, but they are very pigmented, which sometimes I just wish they were like a tiny bit less pigmented. These are like very intense, but they are pretty. So this is one of like the most popular ones, and this is in the shade Happy. And I don't mind that this is a mini at all because this is so incredibly pigmented. As you can see, that is what that looks like. It is a beautiful like bright pink. I think you guys have definitely seen this because a lot of people actually have this shade. Then the next one I have is in the shade Truth, and again also I don't mind that it is a mini because this is a one pigmented blush. This is what it looks like. As you can see, very deep, sort of like a very deep purpley red shade, and this is what the like little bottles look like. I think they look so adorable that they're like little minis. Then the 3 full sizes I have 2 of these more like pinky purpley toned one, and then one is actually a bit more red brown. So this one is in the shade Love, and this is one that even though you think it looks very pigmented, as you can see it definitely does, when you use a very light hand you can make this work. I usually just put a bit off the back of my hand and then just use a brush to go in with a very light hand on my face, and it is a beautiful more of that like brown toned blush, which I like sometimes. I love my pink blushes as well, of course, but sometimes I just want something a bit different. Then this one is like the most pink one out of the full sizes, and this is the shade Hope. It's also really pretty, and I should definitely use this more because I bought this during Black Friday and for some reason I just haven't used it that much. So that is what the shade Hope looks like. Also super pretty. And then the last one came in the set with the 2 minis, and this is actually the shade Encourage. Now this is one I also probably wouldn't have picked up if it wasn't in the shade because it is quite deep and quite purpley toned, and I feel like I would never be able to use up a full size of this, but because it came in the set with the 2 minis, it was a really good deal, and it does look like a beautiful like purpley type blush. So those are all my Rare Beauty blushes. I love them all. I just don't use them as much because like I said, sometimes they're just like a little bit too pigmented for my liking. Then moving on, we have of course the classic Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm Beauty Light Wand in the shade Pinkgasm. I actually did a review on this, but I think everyone knows what Pinkgasm looks like. It is just a beautiful glowy pink blush. As you can see, it's definitely a lot more metallic than the other blushes, but super pretty, and I absolutely love this one. I just wish the applicator was a bit more hygienic because this is a sponge. Then another one of these little tubes is this one from Glossier. This is actually the only Glossier makeup product that I have aside from their like balm.com, but it's more of like a balm. This one I actually picked up when I was in London in the summer, and this is in the shade Dusk, and it is super pretty. It's definitely also a bit more of that brown toned blush, but it blends super easily into like this beautiful natural like wash of color to the face, and I just love wearing this. So this one from Glossier, I think the formula is really nice and a lot of people would love. One that I don't really use as much is the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer Blush. This is quite pretty, but for some reason I haven't used this in like months. I think maybe even like half a year. I wonder if it still works. I thought maybe it would have like dried out by now, but this is what it looks like. It is a beautiful shade, and seeing this, I should definitely use it more because it is a beautiful like shade. This is in the shade Provence. I just remember the formula like not being the easiest. You have to like use a very specific way to try to get this to work. I did a video about like trying this in case you're interested to see how I make this work, because I know a lot of people were like disappointed by this, but I can make this work. It is very pretty. I just need to use for it a little bit more. Then we have this one, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Lip and Cheek Glow in the shade Romance Light. It's also very pretty, but one that I don't really use as much anymore. I don't really have a reason for that. It is very pretty. I just like don't find myself reaching for this as much anymore. I feel like I'd rather like use the Trini London products. I don't know why. There's something wrong with this blush. Maybe I just prefer other shades, but this is very beautiful. And in case you've been thinking about buying this, I think this is a really good product. Then this blush shake from R.E.M. Beauty is quite nice as well. This is in the shade Stage Mom. I picked up some of their products when I was in London as well in the summertime, and I've been a little bit let down by the products in terms of the quality. The eyeshadow palettes were like really bad. I think like they were like one of the worst eyeshadow palettes that I've tried like in general, I would say, in my life. So I decluttered those, and they also had like a very bad chemical smell. They smelled super cheap just, and they definitely weren't cheap. This one doesn't have too strong of a smell, but because I have just been a little bit disappointed by the brand, I haven't really been drawn to using this blush either, so probably should try to use it a little bit more because it definitely wasn't a bad blush. I just need to use it a bit more. And then the last products that I have right here are 3 of these Milk Makeup lip and cheek sticks. I actually had 5, but there's no way I'm going to use up 5 of these, so I actually am going to give the other 2 to my mom. But the ones I have right here are the shades Quirk, Work, and Perk. They all rhyme, and I did a video. They actually came in like a little set, which is where I got this makeup bag as well. It came with this set for the holidays. It was an amazing deal because these are actually full sizes. I've had some people comment saying they're not full size, but they are. But Milk Makeup actually changed the sizes of their products because they realized no one was really using up a full size blush. So this is now the full size, but they used to be bigger, if that makes sense. This is the shade Quirk, which is a beautiful like deeper red one. That is what it looks like, and I'm so like impressed by the formula of these. They're super creamy and emollient. They work nice, they blend nice. This one is the shade Work, which is more of like a bit more of a lighter one, kind of like a little bit more of a warm corally undertone. And then the last one is a bit more of like a corally shade in the shade Perk. I decided to keep these 3 because these are like the most different ones and the ones that I would definitely use. So I still really like these, and those are my Milk Makeup blushes. So I think that is everything for my blush collection. I feel like I own quite a good variety of blushes, but I also don't have like a crazy amount of blushes. I feel like this is a nice size for my personal collection. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Let me know in the comment section down below your favorite blush from this video. I would love to know. Again, apologies for my nails, my band-aid, and not uploading for 2 weeks. I hope you guys don't mind. But if you did enjoy this video, then I would absolutely love it if you gave it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you don't want to miss any of my videos. All of these things would help me so much with my channel, and I'd really appreciate it. But with that said, I want to thank you guys all so much for watching. I really hope you have an amazing day, and I really hope to see you in my next video. Bye!